Okay, now see, the spot price of the asset as of now is 100. Interest rate is 10%. We have a 1 year forward contract. Now we want to know that what should be the price of this forward contract. So then the formula that we've already discussed is that forward contract should be equal to spot into 1 plus RFR raised to n. So in this case it becomes 100 into 1 plus 10% raised to 1, that means forward price is 110. Now this 110 would be called as a no arbitrage price. At 110 there would not be any arbitrage opportunity. If the price is more than this or the price is less than this, there would be arbitrage opportunities available. So we'll consider both the scenarios. Let's consider a scenario where the forward price is 150. Now,
so forward price, what is that? Because at initiation they don't have to pay anything, right?
No.
Parties
No. Forward price means the price at which these parties will be able to buy and sell at a future point of time. That means contract price. This 110 is the contract price, to whom we are calling it as forward price. At inception you don't pay anything.
So is it the price of the underlying asset?
No. 110 means that after 1 year, long will be able to buy underlying asset and short will be able to sell at 110.
110 will be the price of the underlying asset also.
The transaction will happen at 110, not the price. After 1 year, the price in the market might be 150 or 90. The price of an asset is called as spot price, and we don't know what would be the spot price 1 year from today. It might be 0. Spot price will keep on moving, but the price at which transaction will happen is 110. Is it clear? So what if it is 150? Okay. What if it was 150? So in that case, if this is 150, what we know is that forward contract price is overvalued. And since it's overvalued, you want to sell it. So the strategy that you would build is, these are the set of actions that you will do today, and these are the set of actions that you will do 1 year from now. So since you want to sell in future, you want to buy now. Is that correct? So that you will be able to sell at 150. So to buy, you need to have 100 rupees with you. It's an arbitrage. That means you don't have money. So first thing that you will do is you will borrow 100. With this borrowed 100, you will buy stock. And once you've bought the stock, you will also enter into a short side of forward contract. Right? These are the set of actions that you will do today. Now see, what will happen after 1 year is that after 1 year, you will exercise, or rather I should be saying execute, forward contract. You've already entered into the short side, so you would execute your forward contract. And if you execute your forward contract, you will sell your stock and you will receive, you will sell it at what price? 150. So you will receive 150. But how much will you pay to the bank? To the bank you would be required to pay only 110. So that differential 40 is your arbitrage profit. So that means if the price was more than 110, there was an opportunity to make profit. Are we clear?
When you want to buy stock, is it short forward?
Sorry? Yes. You take a short position on the forward contract. Short position means write an obligation to sell in future.
So you need to have stock for that?
No, I don't need to have a stock, but I buy the stock today itself. These are different positions. I am borrowing 100 rupees. With my 100 rupees, I am buying a stock. And simultaneously, I am also entering into short side of the forward contract. These are separate positions. So what happens is that after 1 year, to sell my stock, I don't need to buy one and sell one. I already have one with me. I use that and I sell it at 150. That means it does not really matter what is the spot price at the end of year 1. No matter what is the spot price, you will still receive 150. You will pay to the bank 110. Your arbitrage is 40. Are we clear with this? So since in this case you are first taking the cash and then you are carrying the stock with you, this is called as cash and carry arbitrage.
Is there a possibility, like, let's say 1 year forward is trading at 100, and I take a short position, so I'll be selling that stock after 1 year for 100. So at the time when I sell, the spot price is 120. So ideally, there is a loss of 20 rupees in doing it. Since I could have sold it at 120, now I'm selling it. But is there a possibility in the meantime, in the contract, when there was a time of 1 year, I bought that stock for 60 rupees, 70 rupees, and it was trading?
We're not concerned with that.
There is no loss to me because I bought it at 60 and selling it at 100.
See, that is not the question that he's asking is, can you just be more loud when you ask a question?
Basically, what I'm trying to ask is, if today I take a short position for a stock at 100 rupees, after 1 year the stock may be trading at 120 rupees. So ideally, since I have to sell it at 100 rupees, I'll have a loss of 20 rupees after 1 year. But in the meantime, during that 1 year, if I can buy that stock for 80 rupees, so wouldn't that be?
No. You probably meant to say you've sold a forward contract.
Yeah.
You've taken a short position on the forward contract. You have to sell your stock at 100 rupees. That's what he's saying. Yeah, so in the meanwhile, if you buy it at 60, you were smart. You bought the stock at a price when it was very, very cheap. But then that is not profit on account of arbitrage. That is profit on account of speculation, that stock price fell down. Here we are trying to see, is there any arbitrage opportunity? No matter what is the price of the stock 1 year from today, even if it's 0 or even if it's 10,000, I get to earn minimum 40. Follow this? That this is an arbitrage. What you are saying is, what if the price changes? That would be a speculation profit, not an arbitrage profit.
How do we show it? Like, the spot price after 1 year is 120. So how do I show it? Is it a loss?
Show? Why do you want to show it? And this is not accounting, so we don't have to worry about it. I know it happens if you study two things simultaneously. Is this clear? Yes.
After only you execute the forward contract, you sell the stock as a part of the execution of the forward contract.
Yes. I have a right and obligation to sell my stock at 150, so I sell it. Okay. Now let's do the other way around. Let us say that 100 is a spot price again, and then you enter into a forward contract which allows you to sell it at 90. Okay, so 90 is a 1 year forward contract price. So again, this is not the correct price because we want the price to be 110. That means at 90 there is an arbitrage opportunity available. So how do you know there is an arbitrage? Since this is undervalued in future, you are going to now be on the long side of the forward contract. So again, these are the set of actions that I will take today. These are the set of actions I will take 1 year from now. So this is today. Now I know that I have to buy it in future. That means I have to sell stock today. So I will sell stock and I will receive 100. This 100 I will deposit in a bank at the rate of 10%. And then simultaneously I will also enter into a long side of my forward contract. After 1 year, my bank will give me 110. After that 110, I will take 90, and I already have a forward contract long position. So I will use or exercise or execute my forward contract and I will get a stock. And this stock, that means I own a stock now, this long stock will square off short stock that I had originally taken a short position. So now my long position after 1 year would square it off. So this difference of 110 and 90, which is 20 rupees, is my arbitrage profit, which I locked in. Irrespective of what is the price of the stock, after 1 year I still get to earn this 20. So in this case, since you are doing exactly reverse of what we did earlier, it would be a reverse cash and carry arbitrage. Yes. Is it clear now?
Are we considering premiums?
There are no premium for forward contracts. Yes. Any question?
Yes, selling the contract at what price?
90. Yes. So, in order to buy that stock, you need just 90 rupees, but you have 110, so you would be left with 20. And no matter what the price is, you are always left with 20. Are we good with this? Is it clear now? Should we move on? No. So, the conclusion is that in order to ensure that there is no arbitrage, the forward price should always be S into 1 plus RFR raised to N. Now see, this is called as theoretical no arbitrage forward price. Okay, and this word theoretical is really important. Why? Because it is making an assumption that you will be able to borrow and lend at the rate of RFR. Right? You can always invest at the rate of RFR, but I really doubt if any one of you would be able to borrow at RFR. Because you need that level of creditworthiness. So that means generally borrowing at the rate of RFR is not feasible. Plus we are also not considering transaction cost. We are also considering that if I short sell, I receive that cash, which is generally not the case in the market. Are we clear? We are also not considering taxes in this scenario. Yes. Okay, so I'm assuming you've understood. Okay, so we know long means write an obligation to buy, short means write an obligation to sell. There are no premiums on forward contract. So when you enter the contract, there is no upfront payment that is required to be made. It's a simple piece of paper. It's an agreement where one party says I will buy, the other party says I will sell. We've just seen no arbitrage principle. This is the theoretical forward price. And then if you want to find out the spot using forward, it would be forward price divided by 1 plus RFR raised to T. Let's do this again. How much? 507. So answer in this case is 500 into 1 plus 6% raised to how many months? 3 months. So 3 by 12. So what would you do if the contract is trading at 510? You would enter into which side? Short side of forward contract, and then you would exploit the arbitrage. And if it is trading at 502, you would enter into long side of the forward contract. So this is the question that we were doing yesterday. Let's do it again. Let's determine the value of a forward contract prior to expiration. So let's do it again. Yes, how much? 10 point. So again, the intuition is that this is where I am currently. This is time 0. This is the original expiry or maturity of the contract, which is time 3. We determined that no arbitrage price was 507.34. So I have a right, assuming long side, I have a right to buy at 507.34. After 2 months, the spot price of the bond is 515. So we are at the end of 2 months here. Price is 515. We want to know that being on the long side, have we made any profit or have we not made any profit? And if we've made profit, what is the value of those profits? There are multiple ways of looking at it. What I can say is that after 1 month, I will have a right to buy this forward contract at 507. So what I can do is, I can deposit the present value of 507 into a bank today. Right? And then automatically after a month, that would become 507 and that would convert into a bond using my forward contract. So I can short sell, see this carefully, I can short sell the bond currently. Okay, so if I short sell the bond, I will receive 515. The current price is 515, so if I short sell, I will receive 515. And simultaneously, out of this 515, I will deposit present value of 507.34 into a bank, so that this 507 whatever amount that I deposit, it becomes 507. And using my forward contract and 507, I will be able to buy a bond, right? And that bond that I have purchased would automatically square off my short position. So after 1 month from now, my position would be squared off automatically. That means the amount that would be left for me today, that is the value to me today. So 515 minus present value of 507.34, and that came out to be 10.12.
So at the time changes and the spot is continuously changing, the value of the forward is changing, the price won't change.
Yes, the contract price won't change, but the value to the forward side, long or short, both will keep on changing. So in this case, value to the long is 10.12 and value to the short is minus 10.1, because now these are perfectly symmetrical as against options which were asymmetrical.
So, present value of value sample before is 3 months.
For 1 month, you are here. So if you, whatever actions that you need to do it today at the end of 2 months. So you take present value only for 1 month. Okay.
Only if the stock price rises as per the RF, then only it will be arbitrage. Otherwise, again.
At the inception, when you enter into a contract, the forward price would be calculated based on no arbitrage principle.
Yeah.
After that, the spot price will keep on changing, and that would give you either profit or loss. Right? So of course, if you know that stock price will always increase as per RFR, there is no point getting into a forward contract. The fact that you do not know where would stock price be, that's why you want to enter into forward contract, which is the basic purpose of derivative.
So I think then on the second day you can obviously do arbitrage.
No.
On the third day.
On the second day, the spot price would have changed, so there would be a new forward contract available in the market. If the original maturity, let's say, is 90 days, you entered into a forward contract which gives you a right to buy at 507. Next day, let's say suddenly bond price increases by 10. Okay. Then you would say that now I have an arbitrage on my contract. No. You have profited on your contract. Why? Because the prices went in your favor. So this is not arbitrage. If prices would have gone down, you would have lost on it. Yes, this is your speculation profit.
I'm not saying what is there on the first day, buy it on the second.
Now let's not bring futures here. That might see, the mechanism with forwards and futures is a bit different. Okay, so you don't have that in level 1, and I will avoid that now. But are you clear with this? Is this clear?
So, what you say is, I think on the second day itself, there will be some profit that you're getting. So, but that is not arbitrage. That's what you said. It's
Yes.
not arbitrage, it's pure.
100 rupees is the spot price today. So spot price at time 0. So we entered into a forward contract which is 110. Next day in the market, prices become 105 spot price. So then, or let's forget 110, let's say this is 115. So you would say that now I can see some benefit coming to me because prices are increasing. But this increase in price is your benefit, not an arbitrage profit. So what will happen is that next day in the market, if the spot price is 115, 364-day future contract would be available at somewhere around 125. Is this clear? Should we move on now?
So, new forward price available.
There would be a new forward price available, yes.
So there was some other way of doing it?
Yes, there was one more way of doing it. See, there are two ways. We'll do it here itself with the same example. If the 100 is the price and 110 is the forward price, okay? Now let's say that you are at the middle of 6 months, and now what you know is that spot price has become from 100 to 120. One way that we have done is that we took present value of this 110 here, we said 120 minus present value of 110, and the differential was your value. Another way of doing it is that if the spot price is 120, I can find out what should be the 6-month current forward price available in the market. Correct? So I'm making an approximate guess here. It should be about 5%, so 127 approximately at the rate of 10%. So what I would say is that current forward contract available for 6 months price is 127. So what actions I can do is I can take short position on this 127 forward contract, and I am already long on 110. So 1 year from now, no matter what the spot price is, I will buy at 110, I will sell at 127. So how much will be my profit? 70. And this profit will be 6 months from today, so I can bring it backwards. And again, both the values would be exactly same. Are we clear? So 10.12 was correct. So these are the formulas, but I would recommend don't remember them. You do it logically so that you don't forget on the day of exam. Let's solve this question. Yes, how much? B? Okay. So how would you calculate this? 55 into 1 plus 5% raised to 90 divided by 365. Next one. Now this LOS is about calculate the price and value of equity forward contract assuming dividends are paid either discretely or continuously. Now let's first understand what this means. That if I am looking at a stock and I know that this stock is going to pay a dividend of 20 rupees 6 months from now, and now I want to use the same no arbitrage principle for it, then since I know that dividend of 20 rupees would be paid on one particular day, it's a discrete dividend. Right? We know that we would receive this amount on this date. But as against this, if your underlying asset is an index is made of, let's say, 30 stocks. So all these 30 stocks, you do not know which one would pay dividend at what time. Right? So generally with indexes, you get a number that is called as, with indexes, with respect to dividend, you get a number which is called as dividend yield. So if you're curious, just go on to BSc and you download the data, you'll get to see the dividend yield. So this dividend yield, what it means is that you cannot really figure out who's paying stock when. But on an average, the entire index would pay you a dividend of about 1% throughout the year. Right? So then you would ask 1% when, then it's continuous. That means some part of 1% is paid to you every fraction of a second. right? So there would be a dividend which might be paid either discretely or dividend might be continuously. So this is the formula. You can write it down, but don't remember it. Both of them give the same answer, and I'll show you the intuition behind both of them. Both of them are same formulas. Okay. Now, see what it means is, logically, if you have a stock which is, let us say, currently trading at 100, this is times 0. What you know is exactly 6 months from today, the stock will pay you a dividend of 30 rupees. And you want to find out what should be the 1 year forward price. Interest rate is 10%. Now, in this case, if you ignore this 30, if you decide that I am going to ignore and use a simple principle, the forward price would come out to be 110. But at this 110, now there would be an arbitrage opportunity available. Okay. So how arbitrage opportunity available? What I will do today is that I will borrow 100, I will buy a stock, and I will enter into short side of forward contract. I will borrow 100, I will buy a stock, I will enter into short side of forward contract. 6 months from today, not at the expiry, 6 months from today, I will receive dividend of 30 because I have the stock now, so I will receive dividend of 30. And what I will do is I will deposit this dividend in the bank. 1 year from now, I will sell my stock at 110. And since my bank also requires me to pay loan of 100 plus 10%, I will pay to the bank 110, and this position would be squared off automatically. But what I will be left with is this amount of dividend that I had received halfway and which I have invested for half of the year. So I will receive approximately 31.5, which is my arbitrage profit. Is this clear? Should I repeat this again? See, what I have done now is that there is a dividend paying stock. The current price is 100. It is going to pay me a dividend of 30 rupees. 1 year from now, the price of this stock, I want to know what should be the theoretical forward price 1 year from now. I decide that I am going to ignore this 30 for my forward price calculation. I show it as 110. But if I do that, then this is not the correct price, and at this price, the opportunity in the market would be available. So I decide to explore this opportunity, and I take the decisions based on the fact that, and see, it's very logical, that when the dividend is paid, value of the stock will reduce. If the dividend of 30 is paid, value of the stock will reduce by 30. So approximately it would be 70. So if the price of the stock is going to be 70 6 months from now, the 1 year price should be substantially lesser than 110. Isn't it? So since this is overvalued, I want to sell in future. So I want to be on the short side of forward contract. So I will borrow 100, with that I will buy a stock, I will enter into short side. Now, since I own the stock, I will receive the dividend 30. I immediately deposit that dividend 30 into a bank. So at the end of the year, that would become 31.5. What I do is, at the end of year 1, I will sell my stock. So a 100 rupee stock which I purchase, I get to sell that at 110. I take the same 110, I pay off my bank loan. So this 31.5 is left for myself, which is my arbitrage profit. That means in case of dividend paying stock now, I am earning an arbitrage of 31.5 if the forward price is 110. That means forward price should be 110 minus 31.5. It should be how much? 68.5. 78.5. Is this clear? So then what I have done is essentially here that I said forward price is equal to spot into 1 plus RFR raised to n. This is how we got this 110. And then I said minus the future value of dividend. And this is how the formula is derived. Are we clear here? Okay. So, if there is a question on the exam, there are two ways in which you will be able to approach this. I shouldn't have deleted it. If you have 100 here, and if you know that there would be a dividend of 30, this is 6 months. This is your today. You've been asked to calculate 1 year forward price. Either you can bring this 30 backwards. So that would be present value of 30 that you reduce from 100 and do it in both the ways. The answer would be same. Let's try doing it. Second clear TVM. 30 is the future value. 10 is the IY. 0.5 is the N. Compute present value. 28.66. So 100 minus 28.66. 71 point. So 71.39. And then once you have this amount, you take future value of 71.39 at the rate of 10% for 1 year. So 71.39 is the present value, assuming second clear TBM. 71.39 is the present value, 10 is the IY, 1 is the N, compute future value. 78 point? 78.53.
So if you multiply what into 1.1?
It's the same thing.
And what is the dividend the dividend is paid at the end of the existing contract after 1 year.
Dividend is paid here.
Yeah.
And you simply reduce the amount of dividend. You don't need to take future value. So if your future value is 110, dividend is 50, then net future value would be 60. This is one way.
We are assuming that the company, the stock price will reduce by exactly the dividend amount, but most of the time it doesn't happen.
Yes, so that's why it's called as theoretical forward price. It gives you a guideline that how the prices should be structured, but of course it doesn't happen that way in real life scenario. Okay. The other way of doing it is take future value of this 100 here. Okay, so which is 110, and future value of this 30. So this would be 31.46, and if I reduce this again, it would give me 78.53. So these are the two formulas, and either you bring the dividend backwards or you take the dividend forwards. In both the cases, answer has to be same. Are we good? Okay. So let's solve this question now. Don't worry too much about this thing. Don't write the numbers, get used to saving them. Done? How much? 29.59. How much, Ariti? Shraddha, Surbi, Shruti, Dhanashri, Omkar.
There is only a 100-day forward contract and the stock is paying dividend at 170.
Ignore that. Ignore that. Kabir, Manoj. Tanay. 29 point? Yes, Kabir, how much?
3.6.
Okay. We'll do it together for those who haven't done it. See, we'll draw a simple timeline. The current price of the stock is 30. It's a 100-day forward contract. We are being asked to find out the price here. Expected to pay dividend of 0.40 in 15 days. So this is 0.40. Then 0.40 in 85 days. So this is 85.40. And then 0.50 in 175, but that's out of the forward contract, so we need to ignore this irrelevant information. So now what we'll do is, there are two ways of doing it. Either we can take present value of this 0.40 and 40 backwards, reduce that from 30 and take future value of the entire remaining amount, or we can take future value of 30, future value of 0.40 and 40 and then reduce it here, and we'll try to do it both the ways. So let's do it together. Second clear TVM. 0.40 is the future value. 0.40 is the future value. 5 is the IY. 15 divided by 365 is the N. 15 divided by 365 is the N. Compute present value, STO1. Now this present value would be a negative number, so let it remain negative, STO1. Now simply make your N as 85 divided by 365. Don't change anything else. Make your N as 85 divided by 365 and then compute present value again. Now you have your second present value of the dividend. It's still a negative number, STO2. Now since we need to reduce these dividends and we have those negative numbers, we will say 30 plus RCL1 plus RCL2. 30 plus RCL1 plus RCL2. Right, so you would have some amount. Now say second clear TVM, that number is still on your screen and that number would be a positive number. Press present value. 5 is your IY. 100 divided by 365 is your N. Compute future value. And it should be 29.59. Ujjwal, Tanay, are we okay? Omkar?
Yes.
Should we move on? So instead of taking present value, if you would have taken future value of 30 here and then reduced the future value of 0.4 and 0.4, just make sure that while taking it here, you'll take it for 85 and you take it here for 15 days. So just be careful with the number of days. Okay, so let's move on. The answer was correct, 29.60. Now, finding out the value of long position on a dividend paying stock. So write down, but again should not be remembered, fairly intuitive formula. Done writing? Now see, the intuition here is that when you take a short position on a stock, you are expected to pay dividend. Is that correct? When you take a short position and during the period when you were short, you would be required to pay dividend? Yes. To whom will you pay your dividend? To the broker or the owner, because he was the one from whom you had borrowed the stock. So I'm just explaining the process to you. So this is the best way to look at it, that this is your broker and this is where you are. So you are going to take a short position and there is this person who has taken long position. Okay, so you sold it to him, bought it. Now this person who has purchased it, he does not know whether you have taken a short position or you had it and you sold it. Right? But what he would say is that I have purchased a stock. In India I would get delivery in 2 days time, and then if there is any dividend after this, I am eligible to receive the dividend. Now what will happen is that, let's say you shorted a stock on day 0 when the price was 100. Okay? In between there was a dividend of 30 that was paid. Then immediately after the dividend, price would be 70. If you cover up your short position here, then you will sell it at 100, you are buying it at 70, you would have a profit of 30. But this is not a true profit, because during the period when your short position was outstanding, you will be required to pay this 30 dividend to the broker now, because he was the one from whom you had borrowed the stock and sold it, but he has only lent you the stock, not the ownership of the stock. So if there is a dividend, you would expect to receive that dividend. So you would be required to pay that dividend to him. Is this clear?
What happens to the person who is drawn out?
He receives the dividend because he is the owner. See, let's say Ujjwal decides to short sell. Short selling means that you do not have it but you sold it. Let's say that we have a broker in the cast, which is Anand. Okay, so Anand has got an inventory of stock. Okay, we are just for simplicity. So what he does is that he takes one stock and he lends it to you. Then you take this stock from Anand and you sell it to Tanay. So now Tanay owns it. Within 2 days, Tanay's name would be there in the register of shareholders. Okay, and in US within 3 days, his name would be in the register of shareholders. And then if there is any dividend paid, Tanay would receive that. But what Anand would say is that I have given my stock to you but not the ownership. So if during this period, if the stock has given dividend, you are supposed to give me that dividend. So the person who short sells is required to give the dividend to the
2 days at least till the time is up. Person who has got long on the stock, the ownership is not transferred in his name. During those 2 days, if there is any dividend, I'll have to return it back.
No. You short sold a stock at 100 rupees today. Okay, we are assuming a theoretical scenario, because in India you will have to square it off on the same day. Right? So you can't keep naked short position. But let's say that after 6 months, you were allowed to keep that short position open. There was an amount of dividend paid that was 30. Now when you short sell a stock, to square off, you need to buy a stock. But after dividend of 30, market price of the stock is 70. So now think from the borrower's perspective, sorry, lender's perspective. Think from Anand's perspective. He gave you a stock of 100. If he would have holded the stock, if he would have had the stock with him, his stock would have become 70, but he must have received dividend of 30. But he has given it to you, that 30 dividend is being received by Tanay now because you sold it. So Anand wouldn't accept only a stock of 70. He would say, you give me my stock back of 70 plus you also give me dividend of 30. So when you short sell and if you keep your position open, you would be required to pay the amount of dividend to the person from whom you borrowed it. Are we clear with this? So now, if this understanding is clear, then this would make sense. That again exactly same logic. That what I'll do now is that I want to extract the profit of my forward contract. So I am on the long side, I have a right to buy in future. I will short sell the security today. The way we derived the earlier formula. That I will short sell the security today and I will deposit present value of my forward contract. So this is assuming that there was no dividend, and if the current, let's say same example, 100 rupees was the 110 was the forward contract price, and after 6 months the price became 130. So what you will do is you will short sell it at 130. So you would receive this 130 and then you would deposit present value of 110 and that's the value to the long side. But now one more cash flow would come into picture, that when you short sell the security, you would also be required to pay dividend. But you want to find out the value to the position today. You would be paying dividend 6 months from now. So if you know that from 6 months from now dividend is 30, if you deposit only present value of 30 today in the bank, automatically it would take care of the dividend payment. So spot 130, the price at which you sell the asset, minus the amount that you deposit here to take care of the dividend obligation. Ajinkya, is it clear?
So this is the initiation.
Okay, I am not being able to make it clear. Okay. Let us say today this is time 0, spot price is 100, RFR is, I need space, RFR is 10%. So that forward contract price will become 110 for 1 year. Now, what we get to know is, let's say after 6 months, the forward spot price has become 130. Let's assume no dividend. We want to know what is the value to the long position. So what long can do is, long will short sell the stock and then he will deposit present value of 110. So when he will short sell the stock, he will receive 130 and then he will deposit present value of 110 for 6 months. So that differential amount which is left with him, that is the value to long position. Isn't it? That's how we derive the formula S minus present value of forward contract. Is that correct? Now what incremental happening is that somewhere around 9th month, there is a dividend of, let us say, 20 rupees. So now when you short sell the stock, what you know is that there is one more cash flow that you need to take care. You need to pay 20 to the broker 3 months from today. So what you require to do now is, you would short sell the stock and you would receive 130. But out of this 130, you will be required to deposit present value of 110 so that it would take care of this obligation, and you would also be required to deposit present value of 20 so that it would take care of this obligation. Is it making sense now? Not yet? Tushar?
But we're still making some amount of profit.
You are making profit. I am not saying there is no arbitrage.
Because 20 will become 18 or 20.
No. My intention was not to say that there is no arbitrage. My intention is to say, how do you find out the value to the long position, or what is the intuition behind the formula that is given there? Harshal? Aditi, is it clear? Not clear? Partially.
not necessarily the dividend will be 20. Here it could be like arbitrary.
No, this was just an example. Let me make it as 5 rupees. This dividend is 5. It was an example.
So, but anyways, this price will be covered if you're short sell. If you're on the short position, then the price of the stock will go down. Like, it should. Like,
Yes.
so it will be anyways covered later on.
Yes, but then you entered into a forward contract.
Yeah.
Okay. Go and try and read it again. If it's not clear, we'll spend some time some other day. So now solve the example. Yeah, you might want to see the value. It was 29.60. This was the forward contract price.
Earlier was 100 days, right? 100 days.
Yeah, it was 100 days. So now you're here. This is times 60. This is 100. Now be careful that at 85 there was a dividend, and the amount of dividend was 0.4. Hmm? 6.16. Harshal has got 6.16.
Dividend of how much? 0.4.
So in this case, since the amount of dividend is so small, on the exam there is a possibility the options might be closed. Because one might forget to incorporate dividend, and if that is the case, the difference would be about 0.36. So you need to be careful here. In case if it's not, if you're not getting the answer, 36 minus present value of 0.40 for 15 days minus 29.60 present value of 29.60 for 40 days. Sorry, 25 days. 25 days. See again I'll make one last try to simplify the whole thing. Okay, I'm trying to explain the logic behind the formula for the last time. You have entered into a forward contract long time back. Okay, this is day 0. Your forward contract will expire 1 year from now, and it will give you a right to buy an underlying asset at 120. Now, let's say that you are somewhere here, okay, which is, we'll keep this as 9 months in this example. So this is 3rd month. That means now time left for maturity is 9 months. Now what you know is that somewhere around 6th month there would be an amount of dividend that would be paid, which would be 10 rupees. And currently the spot price on which you have entered into a the spot price of the underlying on which you have entered into a long contract long time back, the spot price of this particular contract is, let us say, 170. Okay. So it's a forward contract, which means that you cannot sell it or you cannot liquidate it, but you try to think of a way in which you would be able to extract the value of this forward contract today itself, and we want to know how to extract the value. Now, so what you think is that what if I short sell this spot today? Okay. So if you short sell this security, what you would receive is 170 rupees. So you receive this 170. But the problem is that I have short sold the security, I will be buying it back on this time. I will be buying it back here. So in the meanwhile there is a dividend, and if I short sell and if there is a dividend paid in between, I am required to pay that dividend. And I am required to pay that dividend to whom? To the person from whom I have borrowed. That means I am required to pay a dividend of 10, and I would be required to pay dividend of 10 how many days from now? 3 months. So what you think is that why not make the provision of making that payment today itself? Okay, so we'll solve this one. So what you do is you calculate present value of this 10. So let's do this. Second clear TVM. 10 is the future value. 10 is IY. 0.25 is N. 0.25 is N. Compute present value. You deposit in bank how much? 9.76. This 9.76 will take care of dividend. So you don't have to worry about that dividend anymore. Is that correct? Now third thing that you also have to worry is that you need to square up your short position. You've taken short position today. You need to square it off. How many days from now? 9 months. You are at the end of month 3, you will have to square up your position. That means you will have to buy that stock. But now one good thing for you is that irrespective of what the price of the spot is in the market, you have a right to buy the stock at 120 thanks to the forward contract you had entered in here. To square off the short position, you have to buy the stock. But you will be able to buy the stock at 120. So what you need to do today is simply make provision of that 120 today. So what you do again is you deposit second clear TVM, 120 is the future value, 10 is the IY, 9 divided by 12 is the N, compute present value. $111.7, and this will take care of long side of forward contract. And what will happen on the date of expiry is that your short position that you have taken here, that short position would be squared off with the long position. So on the date of expiry, the contract would be squared off automatically, which means today you are left with this amount. So this is how you could unlock the value of your forward contract. So what did you do? You received 170. Out of that, you've deposited 9.76, and you've also deposited 111.7. which is your formula? Spot minus present value of dividend minus future value divided by 1 plus RFR raised to N or T. Is this clear now? Ajinkya? Still partially?
This is the value of long position.
This is the value to the long position, yes.
On the third month, right?
On the third month, yes. So this is how he could extract the value of the contract without actually having to execute the contract, because he cannot.
In real term situation, how do we forecast the dividends? Because if those are not announced.
Yes. So that's why, see, generally now what you would know is if there is a forward contract on a stock, then who will enter into a forward contract on a stock? Mostly fund managers. Right? So I have a portfolio. So in real life scenario, every stock will have a pre-specified trend of dividend. Like Hero MotoCorp always pays in the range of 100, isn't it? L&T would always pay in the range of 15. ONGC would always pay in the range of XYZ amount. So based on that, it would give me a guideline as to what should be the forward price. Of course, I wouldn't know the exact amount, but I would approximately know what might happen on this particular day.
Right. So it's based on estimates.
Estimates, yes. Of course, for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, you cannot.
And timing is also very.
You don't even know the exact timing, yes. Alright, so moving on. Was that answer correct? 6.16. Now, see, if there is a continuous dividend, this is a formula you see on the book. Okay. So don't even bother to read it. It would unnecessarily scare you. So don't worry about this. What you simply need to do is that what we know is forward price is calculated using the RFR. Okay, the best to be done using an example. Okay, let's solve this particular question. Calculate the no arbitrage price of 140-day forward contract. Done, Surbi? How much? 1-1. It's the same intuition. See, a thumb rule that if it's a cost, interest is a cost. So we add it. Add it means we multiply and we take future value. Dividend was a benefit, it was an inflow, so we deducted it. So the same logic. What is your cost here? 4.6%. What is the benefit here? 2.1%, so deducted. In the earlier case, when we had an absolute amount, we deducted the present value of that absolute amount. Now we have an yield. The life is all the more simpler. Simply say 4.6 minus 2.1 and then take the future value. That would be your answer.
So why so much is the cost?
It's an interest, cash and carry. That if you invest into a stock, to have that stock with you, you're losing the opportunity cost on that amount. So that's why it's a cost of carrying the stock. So let's do it that way. Let's do it together. We have to use continuous compounding. Second clear TVM. 4.6 minus 2.1% into 140 divided by 365. Second e raised to x into 1140. 1151. This is your answer.
If I compound it by 4.6% for 40 days, that means that 2.1% dividend yield is for 365 days. I calculated 2.1% on the 1140, which is the spot price.
No, I didn't understand your question.
Let's assume if I try to calculate this way, if 1140 is the spot price, and I compound it by 4.6% for 140 days. Now the value is 1159.82, and I assume that this 2.1% dividend yield that I get on the 1140 is for 365 days. I take it the value for 140 days and subtract it from
the same thing. You're doing the same thing. You're taking it forward by 4.6, bring it backward by 2.1, which means you're taking it forward by the difference 2.5. What you're saying is मैं 1 किलोमीटर आगे जाता हूँ फिर आधा किलोमीटर पीछे आता हूँ. So from the starting point distance कितना होगा? It would be half kilometer. It's the same logic. You're taking the entire amount forward and then bringing half of it backwards.
So in the exam, if the options are not very known, can we use daily compound?
No. I mean, yes. I mean, if you forget, there is no alternate. But why not? I mean, we are still quite a distance away from the exam. So you should learn the way it should be done. So what it would require is some efforts.
So I took the difference, then press the percent, and
let's do this. 4.6 minus 2.1. Then press the percent key, so it becomes 0.00. Then into 140 divided by 365. Second e raised to x 1140. See, the best way to remember this is it is e raised to RT. It is e raised to RT. So आपको पहले RT निकालना होता है, ठीक है? बट ये RT जो है, this R is in percentage, and then you have to multiply it with time periods. What we did here, 4.6 minus 2.1, but then we said percentage. Then we multiplied with the time period, and then we simply said second e raised to x. Convert it to this to continuous and then calculate. But I don't think that kind of a question you would see. But yeah, you can always. Yes. If there is a continuous dividend yield, the only way to solve this is to make it continuous RFR. Oh, yes. Then it is discrete.
Continuous interest rate RFR to discrete.
Yes.
So depending on what is data.
No, not necessary. You can still decide to use a discrete amount of dividend and compound it that using continuous rate. That's okay.
That would be wrong.
No, why would it be wrong?
It's not continuous, right? If you are not receiving it continuous.
There is a difference. Okay, there a question has been asked. If you can just ask your question again, loud.
If the dividend date is fixed in future, then it would become a discrete dividend. So, and if the RFR is given continuous, then you can convert RFR into discrete and then compare.
No, see, if RFR is given to you continuous, so when you use e raised to x function, it means you are actually converting it to discrete. So it's the same thing. So you not required. If the dividend yield is continuous, see, if you want to do the same question, you can convert both the yields to discrete and solve this. But since we have two yields here, both of them should either be continuous and both of them should either be discrete. It shouldn't happen that RFR is discrete and dividend yield is continuous, then you cannot use them directly, then you need to convert either one of them. But if you have two yields, either keep both of them discrete keep both of them continuous. Does it solve it out? Now this is the fun. we would need the figure 1151, and it was for 140 days. 1151, and it was for 140 days. Use logic even if you don't know any of the formula. I mean, the formula specifically required for this, but if you've understood what we've done before this, you can use common sense and solve this. Forty-five. Is it done? 122 point. Seven. Kabir, Dhanushri, minus. Should we do this together? Harshil. Yeah, it should be negative. The long is losing because price is reduced. Okay, let's do this together in case if you haven't got this. Now see, even if you don't know any formula for this, the intuition is, I know that current spot price is 1025. So using current spot price, I can always find out what would be, I am at day 95, so I can find out that what would be a 55 day, 45 day forward contract available. So let's do this together. Second clear TVM, 4.6 minus 2.1, 4.6 minus 2.1% into 45 divided by 365 into 45 divided by 365, second e raised to x into 1025. How much? 1028.16. So let that number be on your screen, that after 45 days from today, the forward contract would be available at 1028.16. But because of the earlier entered contract, I would be required to buy at 1151. So that means I would be buying expensive, I have a loss. So how much is the loss? The difference between these two amounts. So this number is anyways there on your screen. Simply say minus 1151. Minus 1151. Okay. So this would be the amount of loss that you will have on the date of expiry. Now what we need to do is we need to take present value of this amount, save this number STO1. Now while taking present value, use only 4.6%, because now you simply want to take present value. So now 4.6% into 45 divided by 365, second e raised to x, take inverse of this number and multiply with RCL1. How much? 122.14. So if you do it this way, you eliminate the need to remember this formula. So then the answer is minus 122.14. Is this clear? And if you do it logically, then you wouldn't be jumbled upon the exam as to what was the formula for which method. So simply remember what is the logic and how I can extract the value out of it.
1151 you just value 90. But that thing will understand.
See, the method that we have done, that's the basic logic. Then you form that into an equation and solve for it.
No, but if you take this theory or after adopted to WP also.
If you take what backwards? 1151, no.
Just for
Yes.
But then how the variable or dependency will go?
It wouldn't be required. No. That would be a bit tricky actually. Because if you take short position, then that cost you would be required to incur of dividend. That wouldn't work out. I mean, it would, but we'll have to think a lot about it. So I don't want to do that now. Is this okay? Required or not required?